Greetings, fellow hibernators, my yoga students, and anyone who's joining us here. I'm Karen. I've been a yoga teacher for almost 20 years, and this is my coronavirus homebound yoga video for all people of all levels, so we can help ourselves stay as mentally, emotionally, and physically healthy as possible under the circumstances. This is a trying time, stressful time with lots of fear and uncertainty. Yoga can be enormously helpful for lots of reasons. First, and I think most importantly, the practice of yoga focuses on breath. Even just taking one focused, full, slow, deliberate breath like this. Can help us feel calm and centered, bring us energy and mental clarity by oxygenating the brain and the bloodstream, and help us build and maintain strong respiratory systems. Pretty important right now, perhaps more than ever. So grab your yoga mat, or if you don't have one, find a floor space or non-slip rug. Find a comfortable seat, maybe sitting on a couch pillow or two, and let's begin. Just remember throughout that yoga should never feel dangerous or hurt in any way, or feel like it's just too much. You can rest, modify, skip anything. Just trust yourself and be aware. And if you're doing that, you're practicing yoga well. Last thing before we get started. Usually when I teach, I demonstrate very rarely, and I'm mostly walking around the room, verbally teaching and adjusting students. But for our purposes here, I'll give you the visual of me practicing so you can follow along if you want to. If you know the poses, or if you're my student and you may want to listen only, you can. That's totally up to you. If you want to use this video to practice in the future, please note the time right now of where you are in the video so you can skip this introduction in the future if you want to. So let's take a nice tall seat high on the sitting bones, connecting the sitting bones with the mat. Reach up energetically through the crown of the head, which is toward the back of the top of the skull. So it's not in the center of the crown of the head, it's toward the back where that little mound is, where the spine would continue if it went all the way up. The jaw comes in and back, softening, lengthening the back of the neck. Inhale, shoulders up toward the ears, tight, 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 tight. Exhale down. Inhale, stretch your fingers in 10 directions. Reach, reach, reach. Exhale down. Wiggle the elbows. Scoot the shoulder blades in. Move the elbows in and back. Lift the waist and the low back out of the hips. Make sure there's no holding in the jaw. The tip of the tongue can rest on the roof of the mouth, just behind the teeth, because that does a number of things. It helps keep us mindful if we're doing that. It also helps to concentrate the energy of the tongue into the tip and release in the very, very strong muscle, lower muscle of the tongue, creating more space to breathe. But that, like anything in this practice, if that doesn't feel right, trust yourself, be aware. So feeling space across the heart, softness in the jaw. Begin deepening the breath from the base of the belly. Fill the whole torso with air all the way up to the collarbones. And then slowly release all the air out. Keep going, just like that. Allowing the lungs to start filling from the bottom. Travel all the way through the collarbones so the ribs expand as widely as you can get them. And then slowly release all the air out. Keep going just like that. Again, if some part of this breathing doesn't work for you, or you need to breathe faster, slower than I am, trust yourself, be mindful, go with your own breath all the way through the practice. Even just taking one of these slow, focused, deliberate, mindful breaths, complete breaths, can make a world of difference, especially when things get a little stressful, right? Which maybe they are now, especially here in New York City, but anywhere and at any time, we all have various stressful situations where we take these little shallow breaths just when we really need to take these full, slow, focused, deliberate, gentle breaths. Oxygenating the brain and the bloodstream, helping us to feel more energized, connected, mind and body. We become more aware. I think that was my heater turning on. We can help build stronger respiratory systems just by taking 1, 2, or 3 of these kinds of breaths whenever we can, especially when we need the most, when we're tired, stressed, anything like that. If you want to use a visualization, or think of maybe 1 on your inhales and 1.5 or 2, or and then on the inhale, and then on the exhale. Anything that's going to help you stay with your breath and be with your breath when you meditate, or when you just take some of these breaths, can be really, really helpful. So feel free to stop the video if you want to spend more time doing this and want me to stop talking, right? So that you can spend time breathing on your own. And then at the very, very top of your next full inhale, as long as you aren't pregnant and you don't have a respiratory issue, you can retain the breath at the top, feeling the ribs open up dramatically. And then through the mouth, exhale all the air out. Breath back to normal, but keep that focused attention on the breath. Palms together at the heart, thumbs against the chest bone, elbows down, heart wide open. Joining in together for 3 opening ohms. Deep inhale. Releasing our hands. So you can nasal breathe, or if you need to mouth breathe, just breathe however you need to breathe. Traditionally, yoga is practiced with nasal breath, but you don't want to feel anxious about breath ever, right? So let's switch the crossing of our legs, so the other leg is on top or in front, high on the sitting bones again, palms face up alongside the body, press the hands up overhead, reach through the fingertips, inhale, exhale, send the shoulders away from the ears, staying wide open across the heart. Inhale, lift the waist up from the hips. Exhale, twist to the right. Left hand on the right knee, right hand behind the spine. Look past your shoulder. One more breath right here. Inhaling arms and hands all the way up. Exhale to the other side. Full deep breath here. Inhaling arms and hands up. Exhale, interlock your hands behind the back. Press the palms in, lift the knuckles, lift the heart, lift the jaw, as long as that's okay in your neck. Stop doing anything that doesn't feel right. Yep. Bring the jaw down toward the heart. Take a breath there. And then maybe move the feet forward in space and soften the heart all the way down. Again here, any leg position that helps you feel okay in your hips, knees, ankles. You could sit up on a few pillows for any of these seated poses or blocks if you have blocks, or maybe even a big book, right? We don't have encyclopedias anymore, but whatever you have. Releasing the hands, roll the shoulders, take a full breath. Good, bring the hands straight out from the shoulders, shoulder blades reaching in, shoulders down away from the ears. Press the backs of the hands behind you, inhale. Exhale, bring the palms toward each other, roll to the back of the sitting bones. Keep going. If you aren't supposed to round in your spine, if you've been told that by a doctor, don't round, right? Rolling back, exhaling. One more time. Reach the heart up toward the sky. And exhale. Stay rounded, interlock your fingers. Inhale, turn the palms face out. Exhale, round a little more deeply if you can. Shoulders away from the ears. So chin tucks in toward the heart, belly button in toward the spine. Reach energetically out through the bases of the forefingers. One more breath here if you can. Inhaling arms and hands all the way up. Exhale through the mouth. Coming forward for cat, cow, right? Put a towel under your knees if you need to, right? Wrists under the shoulders. So for most of what we're doing through the sun salutations and even here, we want to rotate from the shoulders so that the inner elbows are turned forward, but not so much so that you lose the alignment of the wrists and the hands, right? So you want the middle finger or at least the forefinger facing straight forward. And you want to keep a connection of the bases of the forefingers and thumbs, right? So rotating forward. And then in a neutral spine, starting in a neutral spine, we're going to inhale, tilt the tailbone up, belly comes toward the floor. Heart moves through the shoulders, head lifts. Exhale, tailbone tucks underneath, opening till the chin tucks in. So keep going, tailbone initiating in either direction, tilting one vertebra after the last. Toward the top of your next inhale, tuck the toes under, soften the bottoms of the feet, and we're going to press back to downward facing dog. So if downward dog isn't a good pose for you, you could stay in tabletop whenever we come into downward dog. We're going to bicycle the legs, sink into one side, take a breath, sink into the other side, take a breath. Good, and then bend both knees. Tilt the tailbone up so you're creating a little arc in the low spine. Try to keep a little of that tilt. Inhale, heart still reaching back. Exhale, the heels down toward or to the floor. Inhale forward to plank. So plank is one of the most valuable poses you can do. If you could do this every day, try to. That being said, like any pose, if it hurts your low back, your feet, anywhere else, Bring the knees down, adjust, modify, right? Otherwise, heels reaching back, crown of the head, reaching forward, one long line of energy if you can. Still inner elbows reaching forward. If you're okay here and you want to lift the right, energize the foot, straight back. Exhale, open up to the right. Inhale, extend. Exhale down. Other side, inhale. Exhale, open. Inhale, reach. Exhale down. Right where you are, plank, inhale again here. Exhale back. Downward dog. So where your hands are for plank is very often a good place for them for downward dog. That being said, if you need to adjust, go ahead and adjust, but you might want to try that. Keeping the hands where they are, even if it means you have to bend the knees, heels come up, right? You want the spine to be long, you want the low back reaching toward the legs. Inhale forward to plank again. This time, exhale, knees, chest, chin. So that means knees down, chest between the arms, elbows tucked in, chin extended out on the floor. That might not work for a number of people. So instead, when we come down, knees, chest, chin, you could just lower down to your mat, to your non-slip rug, to the floor, wherever you are. And we're going to come into low cobra. So roll the shoulders up and back. Tuck your chin in enough so that the neck isn't crunched behind you. Slide your hands back so that your forearms are basically perpendicular to the floor and the upper arms are parallel to the floor. Sink the hip pointers into the floor. You can even isometrically sort of push back on the hands to open the heart a little more and pull the waist out of the hips. You can even walk the tops of the feet behind you. Heels in line with the middle toes. One more breath here. Maybe lift the hands. Good. Plant the hands, tuck your toes under. Inhale, press up through your knees using plank. And exhale back, downward dog. Right, in downward dog, you want to reach the tailbone up and back as if it could touch where the back wall meets the ceiling behind you. Inhale forward. Exhale, knees, chest, chin, or come down to your belly. Come forward into low cobra again. This time, if you want to interlock your hands behind the back and this open the heart, upper spine, shoulders, shoulder blades. Sink the hip pointers still into the mat. Release the hands, plant the hands alongside the body, tuck your toes under. Inhale, pressing up. Exhale back. Downward dog. So maybe you're in tabletop here and you keep that left knee down, that's fine. Otherwise, inhale the right knee in toward the nose, nose toward the knee. Exhale, pressing up and back. Downward dog split. So you want that right body to open up and you want to reach your left heel, your right heel to the left, opening the tailbone. Again, modify, skip anything you need to. Otherwise, open up that right waist, maybe peer past the underside of the right arm. I don't usually look at my apartment from this point of view. And then come to the ball of the left foot. Right foot's gonna come between the hands. Long lunge. Sink into it here. We're gonna twist open to the right. Plant your left hand to the inside of the right foot. Reach up to the right fingertips. Maybe looking past them. Be careful of your neck though. If some part of this doesn't feel right, you could always look at the floor or look straight ahead. One more breath. Good, we're gonna look down. We're gonna make our way into warrior two. So you could press your right hand into your right thigh or windmill both arms up, however it's gonna work best in your body. In warrior two, we wanna rotate from the shoulders so that those inner elbows, like we talked about before, are facing straight up, right? And then we just wanna turn the palms face down and look past the right fingertips if we can. Reverse warrior, so I am not mirroring you, right? So exhale, windmill, all the way down. Send that right foot back. So knees, chest, chin are lowering all the way down. If you want to bring in chaturanga and upward dog, which I'll go over later, you're welcome to. Exhale back. Right, so that's like a vinyasa. Coming forward into plank, left knee in toward the nose, nose toward the knee, hold, and exhale, up and back. Bend your knee, reach your heel, peek under your arm if that feels okay. Reach your heel a little bit more, open the tailbone wide, and come to the ball of the foot as you use your Uddiyana Bandha low core to plant that foot forward. Reach the crown of the head forward and the heel back. And then let's twist open to the left. Plant your right hand to the inside of the left foot. Reach up through the fingertips. Still reaching the heel back and the crown of the head forward. Sigh that left shoulder open. One more exhale. Looking down, press up, windmill up, warrior two. Shoulder blades in, fingertips out. Good, reach to the outside of that right foot. Rotate the legs open away from each other. Tilt the tailbone down, shoulder blades in. Good, reverse warrior, inhale, think more up than back. Exhale, windmill all the way down. You can come through your chaturanga or knees, chest, chin, or coming down to the mat, low cobra, or upward dog. Make sure you're switching the feet. If you're coming into up dog, switch them back, down dog. Let's come into child's pose. So child's pose is hugely important, right? We need to balance every inhale with an exhale, and we have to balance our surrender, our effort with surrender, right? So important. Knees can be apart, knees can be together. Crown of the head softening out, right? Waist pulling out of the hips, and then complete release. Arms can be overhead, they can be alongside the body. Whatever's going to feel restful in Balasana. You can always stop the video if you want to take extra time here. So we'll move back into downward dog. So you could just bicycle the legs here or come through a vinyasa if you want something a little more vigorous, right? You can add into it. From downward dog, look between the hands, lightly jump or step forward. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, fold. Uttanasana, standing forward bend. So if the knees need to be bent or you need to make any kind of adjustment, you can do that. If the hands touch the floor, you might want to take hold of opposite elbows or yogic toe lock. Try to keep the hips forward. Shake the head yes and no. You can sway if you want to. And just let your exhales make more and more space in the spine between the vertebrae. If the legs are straight, try engaging the kneecaps and thighs all the way up into the hips. One more breath. Good, release the hands. Bend the knees, inhale to a flat back over your bent legs. Exhale, flop your upper body onto your thighs. Shake the head yes and no again here. And then we're going to very, very slowly roll up, stacking one vertebra on top of the last. Take your time. All the way up. I'm going to turn toward you for our purposes here, but otherwise you can stay where you are on your mat, right, toward the front of the mat, whichever direction you're facing. So if you want to take a moment now to go to the bathroom, get a sip of water, anything like that, there is benefit to having uninterrupted practice, but this would be a good time if you need to. Right, so spread the feet. We're going to build our Tadasana, mountain pose, which is basically the alignment root of the whole asana physical practice. So spread the bottoms of your feet, spread the toes, connect the toes without grasping in the toes. Connect the bases of the big toes, outsides of the feet. Lift at the arches. Soften in the knees and the hips and the gluteals. Make sure that's all soft. And we're going to inner rotate the upper thighs, open the sitting bones, and then just tilt the tailbone into that space you just made. Feel your Uddiyana Bandha, that low core engage. Send the ribs back, shoulder blades in toward each other, shoulders soften away from the ears, heart open, elbows in and back. Lengthen the back of the neck, soften the jaw, reach up through the crown of the head, right, like we talked about before. Palms together at the heart. Take a breath. Right, thinking about a dedication if you want to, anything at all that you want to devote your practice to, anything you want it to be toward, right? You can make it something very small and specific and personal, or something vast and universal, anything in between, and make that your dedicated vritti, or your vow, wish, or even a prayer. Good. Back into Tadasana, and then we're going to bring our palms together at the heart in Tadasana, which is Namaste, which is basically mountain pose, but with palms at the heart, right? So take a breath here. Inhaling, arms up. Exhale, lengthen and dive down. Don't hit your head on your dining room table like I almost did. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, jump or step all the way back into your knees, chest, chin, or flattening down, or chaturanga, low cobra, or upward facing dog. Exhaling back. Down dog. Notice how I flip my feet to the tops and then back again. So you're breathing in downward dog. Right, you could send the low back toward the legs. Keep reaching the heart through the shoulders back toward the legs. Make sure there's no holding in your neck. And then bottom of the exhale, bend the knees, look between the hands, lightly jump or step forward. Inhale to flat back. Exhale, fold. Reversing, soften the knees if that's useful. Inhaling all the way up. Exhale, Namaste. Good. Same thing again. Inhale. Reach the heart up, and then reach as you swan dive down. Inhale, prepare, flat back. Exhale, jump or step all the way into chaturanga, knees, chest, chin, flat down. From chaturanga into upward dog. Exhale, back. Down dog. For my regular students, if you want to use that plank tailbone back, scooping through variation, you're welcome to use that at any point. Maybe I'll go over that in the next video. And bottom of the exhale, bend the knees, look between the hands, lightly jump or step forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reverse, all the way up. Exhale, Namaste. One more time. Inhale. Exhale, dive down. Inhale, prepare, flat back, jump or step all the way back. Chaturanga, knees, chest, chin. Low cobra or upward dog. Inner elbows turn forward, but bases of the forefingers and thumbs connected. Exhaling back, down dog. Reaching and breathing here. If you want to shake the head, maybe flutter lips. Good, and then bottom of your next exhale, bend the knees, look between the hands, lightly jump or step forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Reversing all the way up. Exhale, Samasti. Palm to the heart. Good. Take a breath if you'd like to remind yourself of that dedication that you made. You can do that now. So now we're going to move on to Surya Namaskar B. That was Surya Namaskar Sun Salutation A. This is going to be B. It's a little more energetic. So if you want to skip this part and just do those like we just did before, that's fine, or just skip it entirely. This is your practice, yogi's choice, your time. Otherwise, we will forge onward, right? So from here, we're going to come into Utkatasana, chair pose. So we're going to sit to the back of the heels, bring the tailbone down and back, maybe so far down that you could touch your middle fingers to the floor, maybe not, right? Reaching up, shoulders down, tailbone tilted under, Uddiyana Bandha engaged. Inhale again here. Exhale, fold. Inhale, prepare, jump or step, right? All the way into your vinyasa variation. Knees, chest, chin, chaturanga. Inhaling forward, low cobra or upward dog. Exhale back, down dog. So for Surya Namaskar B, we come into warrior one. Right foot forward, left heel down. Right, Virabhadrasana 1, heart is open, shoulders away from the ears. So you want to reach to the outside of that left foot, starting on the right side. I'm not mirroring you at this point. Pull the right hip crease back, tailbone tilted down, ribs back, shoulders open, just like we've been working on before, so that the inner elbows are going to ultimately face in. It's an outer rotation of the arms. Keep your neck long by tucking the chin in. Palms can be together for warrior one or shoulder distance apart, whatever's going to work best in your body. Good. Inhale. One more time. And exhale down. Come through your vinyasa. So if you just want to come into child's pose instead, or you even want to stay standing between sides so that you don't keep coming down and up, that's always okay too. Left side, left foot forward, right heel down. Set the base of your pose. Build on your breath, right? The breath is always vehicle for movement the whole way through as best you can, right? So warrior one, reach up to the heart. Exhale. All the way down. Come through your variation or not. Your practice, your time. Exhale back. Good. So we're going to come back into child's pose. If you don't feel like resting, you can always fast forward through this or just come through sort of on your own vinyasas instead of coming into child's pose. Just take a break. Just depending on what you want from your practice today, this moment, right here, right now. And once you're here, really try to let go. Just soften. See if you can find a sneaky place of holding and tell that part to let go. Fingers, toes, gluteals, shoulders, neck, jaw, tongue, between the eyebrows. Good, and then we're going to make our way back into downward dog. I'm sure my hair still looks really, really good, but that's okay. And down dog. So again, you can vinyasa, or you could just stay here and bicycle the legs, or swing the legs up if you want, just to kind of reinvigorate the muscles, cleanse the muscles a little bit. Good, and then bottom of your exhale, bend the knees, look between the hands, lightly jump or step forward. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, fold. Drop the seat, lift the heart, chair pose, Utkatasana. Right? Inhale, straighten. Exhale, Namaste. Palms together at the heart. Well done, guys. We will make it through this tricky time together. We will. So here you could stop the video and come to a balancing pose, right? Like maybe a tree on your own. You could come to a willow tree, or maybe eagle if you know eagle, or even taking hold under the foot or under the knee and then turning the gaze, bringing it back. Not this fast, right? Nose toward the knee. Anything you want to. So go ahead and do that now if you want to. And then we'll be back together. Hi, we're back. So if you hear sounds in the apartment here, you know, we're in New York City. We have to stay indoors. My husband, my son will be trying to be very quiet in the background so we can just have this time together. So I'm going to come back into chair pose, Utkatasana. We're going to come through another Surya Namaskar B, but this time with many more poses added into it, right? So I'm going to mirror you now. So I'm doing the opposite you are, but it's going to look like we're together. That's what at least we're going to try to do, right? So here we are, chair pose, sit to the back of the heels. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, prepare, flat back. Exhale, jump or step into your chaturanga or knees just chin, low cobra or upward dog. Exhale, down dog. So bring your right foot forward, left heel down, Virabhadrasana 1. Let your movement ride along the breath, using the breath as a vehicle. So on an exhale, open up into your warrior 2, right? Shoulder blades in, fingertips out, tailbone tilted down, right crown of the head reaching up. Reverse warrior, inhale. Exhale, Uddita Parshvakonasana, side angle. We're gonna keep going just to really connect with our breath. So important now, always, but especially now. Exhale. One more time. Adjust your gaze if you have a neck issue. Exhale. Staying here, let that right knee open. Let the left arm be a long extension of that whole left side body. And then half bind or full bind. So that might mean just having your palm face out, or you could reach around to see if you could grab the right thigh. You could come into a full bind if you want to. Right, so here you could play around with being very careful about straightening the leg, or if you have a balancing version you'd want to come into, you would come up into the left foot. But this is where most of us will be. And release the arms. Make your way back if you are up. Left arm alongside the ear, maybe right arm alongside the ear. One more breath here. Inhale, both arms up. So we're going to come into Trikonasana, triangle pose. So you want to set your base always, right? Building from the bottom up, using the breath. That right heel might cut straight back into the arch of the back foot, right? But that being said, if you want to heel toe that foot out just to widen the base for balance, you could do that. You could use a block here or a big book, anything you have like that, maybe a little stack of books. And then we're going to soften, sort of release that left hip out to the left, even as the right leg rotates open. And then the crown of the head comes to the other side. So you want those left ribs to soften down. Move into your back ribs, shoulders away from the ears. Right, so if this isn't working for you or it feels too tight in the knee, soften in the knee. right? If it feels better to stay higher on the leg, stay higher on the leg, right? So a big part of what we want to do is to find a way to make the practice work in our bodies and be good for us, not cause trouble, right? So now we're going to come into half moon, which is a little more challenging of a pose. If you're home alone and you've never tried it, you might want to skip this and just come back into warrior two. You might want that block or big book or stack of towels near your right foot. Otherwise, we're going to bring the weight. So we're bringing the body weight forward. Fingertips can come down, floor, stack of books, block. We want to rotate that left hip open away from the right and then expand everywhere. So you're reaching through the heel and the crown of the head. Fingertips, you could turn your gaze past your fingertips. You could soften in the standing knee and work on, balancing. Clearly, I'm a little off balance today. You could reach back for your foot and take hold and rotate the heart open, right? Any variation you want. When you're ready, if you want to stay here longer, you could always pause the video. That is, if you could reach it while you're practicing. And bend that knee. We're going to float back. Warrior, warrior two. Reverse warrior. Inhale. Exhale, windmill all the way down. Come through your variation and then child's pose. Or just collect your $200, pass go, and come right into child's pose. And let go. Just be with your restful self, mind and body. Be with your breath. Again, if you want to stay here longer, you could pause the video. And maybe lift up to the heart and just, the forehead is just about a few inches off the floor. And you can walk your hands around to the right, pulling that left hip back. Breathe into the side body. And then walk the hands to the other side. Breathe into the side body here, pulling the hip back. And then walk your hands back, and we're going to make our way back into downward dog. Bicycle the legs, vinyasa, anything you want here. Meeting back in downward dog. Not left, but right foot forward again, just like we did before. I know it seems wrong, but you'll see where I'm going. Warrior two. Turn toward the front. Both feet facing forward, right? If it feels too tight to have the knees straight here in this Prasarita Padottanasana, you can soften the knees. Again, anything you need to do. Try to isometrically pull the feet and the legs in and up as if you were on ice, and otherwise they would slide out, right? Hands on the hips, elbows, shoulder blades, scooting in toward each other, tailbone tilted down. Lift the heart. Inhale, hips in line with the heels. Exhale, riding that exhale down. If you want to take yogic toe lock on your way down, you could take hold. Crown of the head softening down, elbows past the head. Maybe you can sort of move the hips from side to side to release. If the head is touching easily, you might want to heel toe your feet in a little bit just to help the spine release a little more. If you want to come up into tripod headstand here on your own, as long as you know you can do that without being in trouble, getting yourself in trouble. Soften in the knees, lift to a flat back. If it's okay, in your shoulders. Inhale, interlock the hands. Exhale, knuckles come down. Maybe pinky fingers down toward or to the floor. Overhead, move the knuckles around here. Release the hands. Lift just to a flat back. We're going to turn the fingertips to face behind us. Spider walk the fingers all the way back. Press the fingers into the mat. Bend at the elbows. And what we're going to do is pull isometrically forward. So you're sending the upper body behind the legs. One more breath here. And then we're going to walk the hands forward. Okay, so from Prasarita Padottanasana, come up first into your warrior two. And then from warrior two, we're going to come into the left side. So pull that hip back, heel goes back. Inhale into your warrior one. Exhale, open into your warrior two. Reverse warrior, inhale. Exhale, side angle. Keep going, keep the breath coordinated as best you can. Inhale. Exhale. One more time. Ride that breath, open up the heart. Exhale. Side angle. Uddita Parshvakonasana. Bring that hand around wherever you want it to be, whether it's full bind, half bind. Rotate the heart open, let that left knee open up. Send the ribs down, reach through the crown of the head, maybe on your inhales, and then sigh the heart open. So if you've been coming through maybe a full or half bind variation, straightening the leg or coming to balance on the left foot, we're gonna make our way back now. Release the arms. Bring that right arm alongside the ear, look straight ahead. Maybe left arm alongside the ear. Reach, 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 reach. Inhale, both arms up. Trikonasana, triangle pose. So adjust the feet if you want to. We're gonna send that right hip all the way out. Hand can be on the leg or on a block, wherever you want it to be. Just send the shoulders away from the ears and send that right side body down toward the left side body. Energize. Breathe wherever you are. One or two more breaths here. If you have a variation you want to come through, it's always good, as long as you're being safe, especially if you're alone. And then we're going to come back either into warrior two if you don't want to come into half moon. Otherwise, I'll walk you through that. So half moon on this side. So we really want to open up the hip. So bend the knee, bend that left knee. Bring the body weight forward. Left hand is on a block, on the floor, on a mat. Rotate that right hip open away from the left. Right, so any variation here, if you want to reach back for your foot, turn your gaze, balance, anything you want. Reach the heel behind you, crown of the head in front of you. Open the hip, open the heart. One more breath wherever you are. So from here, we're going to bend the knee, the left knee, and float back so that we all meet back in warrior two, whether we came through half moon by Ardha Chandrasana or not. So from warrior two, heart open, shoulder blades in, fingertips out. Reverse warrior, inhale. Exhale. Windmill all the way down. Come through your variation. If you've still got a little energy. And then maybe find a towel to put under your face. We're gonna come forward, and as slowly as you want, you can lower through Chaturanga onto your mat. Right, so maybe you wanna put a towel, something under your face. Turn your head to one side or the other. Arms can be alongside the body. If this hurts your neck, you can always sort of squish the towel up by the ear to soften the bend. Sway the hips and just let go here. Deep inhale through the mouth. Exhale. Turn your head to the other side. Same thing. Deep inhale through the mouth. Sway the hips again. Turn the head. Right, just try to be aware of any place of holding. See if you can just let the breath slow a little bit, maybe. One more time, turn the head. Sway the hips. So we're going to start on the back bending, heart opening segment, right? So this should be done carefully so that you make sure you're not doing something that's not good for you. I'll talk about a little of those issues as we go. Forehead can touch, or it could be tilted toward the floor. From the shoulders, we're going to rotate the arms so that the palms are maybe pressing into the mat. Tuck the chin in, lift the head, lift the heart. Walk the tops of the feet away from you, heels in line with the middle toes. And then we're going to lift the feet if you want to, lift the heart, keep the neck long. You could energize the arms straight back if you want to. You could interlock the hands behind the back. You could move the knuckles around behind you. Note that we are opening the heart and the front shoulders, and that is combined with upper spine, right? Shoulders everywhere. We can't do one without the rest, right? And then inhale, lift up a little higher if you're still okay. And exhale, feet down, release the hands, roll to your forehead. And turn your head to the opposite side and let go, sway the hips. You could do another one like that, or a low cobra like we've been doing throughout. Anything like that is great, right? If you don't want to come into bow, or if bow is a bad idea for your knees, low back, any shoulders, anywhere else. So for bow, we take hold. If we can, you could use a strap or a towel, or you could even hold a pant leg if you want. Big toes come in toward each other for bow. Forehead or jaw on the floor or toward the floor. Right? And then we're going to press the feet behind us. Arms are straight like a bow, right? As best we can. You can rock naturally with the breath. Keep the knees in line with the hips. Feet press back. Heart opens up, right? If you like to get a little momentum and roll one side and then the other side, if you have room in your apartment, inhale, press up a little higher. Exhale, keep hold of the feet, if that's okay, in your knees. Maybe the forehead lowers down. You can pull the heels in toward the gluteals. Maybe even lift the knees for a quad release. And then finally, press thumbs into the soles of the feet. Thanking them for all their support. I had to say it, I'm sorry. And release down, head to the opposite side. Sway the hips, soften, breathe. We're going to roll onto our backs. Right, make sure ponytails are out of the way. Heels under the knees, hip distance apart. Right, so we're going to come up into bridge or wheel, 2 rounds. So if you want to get 3 in there, you could get started now and just kind of ignore what I'm saying. If you want to just stay up on a block or a book under your tailbone the long way, it could be high up, could be halfway, whatever's going to feel best. Otherwise, we'll start with bridge or wheel, round 1 of 2 rounds. So for Setu Bandha, bridge, tailbone comes all the way up. Make sure the knees are directly over the ankles. Lift the tailbone, interlock your hands behind the back. Roll the shoulders from side to side, shoulders and elbows coming deeply in toward each other, so that maybe if I were standing over you, I wouldn't see your arms, hands at all, right? Jaw is going to come up toward heart comes up toward the jaw.
so that maybe the heart ultimately becomes perpendicular to the floor. Hip pointers lift up. One more inhale. Release the hands. Exhale, tailbone down. Sway the knees side to side. Final round. So bridge again like we just did. Or if you're coming into wheel, just make sure you know how to do wheel and you know you can stay up. You're not going to hurt your neck. Or make sure there's someone with you or near you who can spot you, right? Fingertips in toward the shoulders, connect the feet, reach up. If you're coming into wheel, right, we want the heart to sort of move in the direction of where the arms are as opposed to the direction of the feet. Anybody who wants to try, whether in bridge or wheel, lifting up through one set of toes, inhale, exhale down, other side. Exhale down, inhale, lift, lift, lift. Exhale, tailbone down, sway your knees, side to side. Breathing into the low back. And then yoga, happy baby, right? So you could have your arms to the insides of the knees and hands reaching around, soles of the feet parallel to the ceiling, or any place that's going to help you just kind of release the knees down. You could sway. You could think of the tailbone sort of softening toward the floor. 1 or 2 more breaths. Hug the knees in toward the heart. Inhale your forehead up toward your knees. Tight, tight, tight. Exhale. Rolling out, plant the feet. So before we come into spinal twist, we're going to do a hip opener on our back. So if you're doing this and you want to come into Ekapada Raja Kapotanasana, pigeon prep instead, go for it, right? You can always kind of replace a pose we're doing with something else more advanced if you want to do that. Otherwise, plant that left foot on the floor, cross the right ankle above the left knee, right? And then we're going to make that little triangle between the legs. The knee opens up, and then lift the left foot off the floor again. Interlock your hands. Maybe you're pressing that leg open. Maybe that's not a good idea. The left leg could be straight or bent. And here's the good part, right? So from here, you can pull that left leg in to a point where it feels like a good, intense opening, not too much. Keep the leg pulled in, but send the tailbone down toward the floor. Keep going just like that. Inhale, pull the leg in. Exhale, sink the tailbone down. If you're coming through pigeon instead, you might want to stop the video because then you're going to want to spend a little extra time in pigeon and maybe come up to sit and take hold of your foot. So do whatever you need to do. Whatever we need to do to get through this, right? Together. And then we're going to release the feet down. Sway the knees. Other side. All right, so one hand threads the needle between the legs. The other one, they interlock behind. Straight, bent, pressing open or not. Pulling in on your inhales. Tailbone sinking down on the exhale. So it helps me if I close my eyes during this. I can really bring the whole spotlight of my awareness into that hip, helping it to let go on those exhales. A couple more breaths here. We're going to come into spinal twist, sway the knees. So scoot your hips just a little to the right, knees up and in toward the heart. Knees are going to go down to the left. If you eagle cross or have any other variation, you're welcome to come through that. And then look past your opposite shoulder. And then once you're in the twist, wherever that has taken you, try to completely let go here. Slowly bring the legs up. Right, if you want to spend more time on either side, you can stop the video. Inhale in, exhale down, other side. Look past your opposite shoulder, fingertips. And then once you're wherever you want to be, just soften, breathe. And then before I take a nap, let's lift the legs back up, center the hips. And if you can, take hold under the thighs and roll front to back along the spine. If that doesn't feel good, don't do it. And we're going to come to balance in Navasana, boat pose. So lift out of the low back. If it doesn't feel great, you can hold under the thighs or even keep the toes on the floor. Otherwise, shoulder blades in toward each other, shoulders away from the ears. Press the knees and thighs in, lift up through the low back. If you want to bring the legs one way, arms the other way, you could do that. And come to the other side if you want to for a breath. And then when you're ready, center again, knees up and in toward the heart. Inhale. Exhale, slide the heels straight out in front, high on the sitting bones. Inhale. Exhale. Lengthening out, reach on your inhales. Surrender into your Paschimottanasana on the exhale. So this could be like a subtle ripple in a pond, just a soft lengthening through the low back, maybe on your inhales, and then total surrender on the exhales. Coming up, wiggle the legs. We're going to keep that right leg extended. For Janusirshasana, we're going to pull that left knee back. So maybe you're flexible enough that it comes behind the waist. Maybe that's not a good idea for you. You could always bring the knee further forward. The heel can pull into wherever it's going to land there. Center the hips, high on the sitting bones. Inhale, and then we're going to exhale, lengthen out. So people who can reach their feet easily, you could cross your wrists if you want to, thumbs down, elbows out. But wherever you are, don't hold in the neck or the shoulders or the jaw. Try to softly reach, sitting bones down if possible. Exhale. Couple more breaths here. Breathing into that left side body if you want to. And inhale, slowly come up. I bet my hair's a mess. Who cares? Right, so we're going to come to the other side now. You don't have to turn around. Pull that knee back, heel in. Square the collarbones, high on the sitting bones. Inhale. Exhale, lengthening out. Breathe into that right side body. Keep the tailbone can sort of tilt as the upper body extends from the hips. But we want to keep the sitting bones on the floor if possible. And we want to take tension out of the neck, jaw, shoulders. So 1 or 2 more breaths here. And slowly coming up. Wiggle your legs, take a breath or 2 here. I'm just going to dry off my forehead just a tiny little bit. And
So we're going to come through our closing poses now. So that could mean different things for different people, right? So if you don't want to invert, we come through shoulder stand, but if you don't want to turn upside down, totally fine. You could scoot up against a wall and put your legs up a wall. You could not have the legs up the wall. You could just have them feet overhead, right? You could stay here. You could choose to put a block under your tailbone and lift the legs up. You get some of that wonderful, delicious blood flow reversal that we can get from inverting, but without hurting or stressing our shoulders or necks. Right? You could come through another inversion if you work on headstand. Just make sure you're with somebody and you know you can be safe doing it if you're in the comfort of your own home, especially if you're all alone. Just be really, really careful. Otherwise, we're going to come into shoulder stand. So, right, we want to lie back, plant the hands. Legs can come overhead, right? If you want to just get the elbows in, interlock the hands, right? And then we bring the heels of the hands to the back. Right, so the heels of the hands sort of keep moving toward the floor. If that's too stressful on your neck, right, or shoulders, you could always cup the hips in the hands instead, right, or lengthen up from there. If you have a variation that you like maybe exhaling one foot overhead, inhaling it back up, other side. And then we're gonna lower legs overhead, plow pose. Hands can stay on the back, you could interlock hands. If the toes don't touch, doesn't matter. You could have the legs apart, soften the knees if you don't have your feet on the floor. And then Karnapidasana, if you're still okay here, right? So you can have your hands on your back, still knees sinking down around the ears. And then arms alongside where your body's about to roll into, slowly rolling out. And we're going to come into our fish pose. I'm just going to scoot back. If fish pose hurts your neck, don't do it, right? Otherwise, you're up on your elbows, first looking at your feet, but instead of where your hands would normally be on your waist, you want your hands to be much lower, like the bottom of the gluteals. Elbows in, send the heart up, press into the elbows, and then let the head come all the way down. If the head isn't touching, then you might want to sort of keep the hands scooting toward the feet or let the head keep coming back, right? So if you like Kapalabhati breath here, right, that's a forced exhale, natural inhale pranayama practice, sounding like this. And then slow that down. That's an incredibly powerful breath practice. Low teeth toward the upper teeth. One more breath. Inhale, press up. And exhale, we're going to come into Shavasana, final resting pose. So I'm only going to do this for about a minute. So if you really want to spend 5 to 7 minutes, you could set a timer or not. And you could stay in this as long as you want, pausing the video before we take our final ohms and end together. So you want to move the shoulder blades in, tuck the chin in. If you're feeling pain in your low back, you could put blocks or towels rolled up, anything under your thighs so that the low back is kind of released, if that's helpful, right? And then we're going to go through the body, head to toe, toe to head. Checking for holding or tension. Right, if anxiety creeps up or anything creeps up, just be aware. Right, you're not doing anything wrong. We just want to let go here as best we can. Soften the jaw, tongue, fingers and toes, gluteals, shoulders, neck.
And then just really feel your whole being just melting into the mat. If there's a visual you want, like a candle flame or waves of, right, a big ocean ebbing and flowing, whatever helps you just to sort of transport yourself into a place of release, go ahead and use that. And then when you're ready, just pull the awareness back to the breath, gently deepening the breath, gently wiggling fingers and toes. Inhaling, arms overhead, stretching like the first stretch of the morning. Exhaling, knees in toward the heart, rolling onto your right side body, unless you're pregnant. You can use your right arm as a pillow if you'd like. Slowly press your way up into a comfortable, soft seated position. Put blocks, towels, couch pillow under your sitting bones whenever you're here, if that helps your knees or hips. And just take a breath here. And then palms together at the heart. Joining in together to express our gratitude for every single inhale, every single exhale that we have, and the opportunity and the ability we have to practice. You can remind yourself of your dedication if you want to. And then lifting our heads, joining in together for 3 closing ohms. Deep inhale. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all of creation be filled with peace, joy, love, light. Namaste. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your practice. As always, be healthy, be safe, be well. Namaste.